Then I'm going to live on. Ingo, where'd you go?
Oh, my battery's low on my phone. Go figure.
We don't want to see Scotty.
I know. Seriously. Seriously.
I'm going to go live on Facebook.
Okay.
Hey, Gerard, am I doing it through Remote Assistant Scout?
Or you can just
your personal page is fine.
Your personal page. I can just
Oh.
share it.
What are we talking about today, guys?
I mean, well, we're thinking about how to, make it work with your virtual assistants, because a lot of clients today, they're kind of like, I don't know what to do. I mean, is this right? You know what I mean?
So I'm going to name it How to Get Started.
Okay.
How to get started. This is being recorded, by the way.
Okay.
How to get started with a new virtual assistant. Going live. Going live. I think we were already live.
Live?
It's yeah, we're already live.
Let me try to get on from my laptop again. It's just because this phone is tiny. This camera's really small.
I think it's working fine.
Oh, okay. You can hear me okay?
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, so if we're live, well, let's start. Hey guys, thank you for joining us today. It's Thursday at 12 o'clock Eastern. We're a little bit late getting started today, some technical difficulties. So I hope everyone's having a great week, a great April. You had a great Easter and Passover. And we are back. I know it's been a couple of weeks since we've been live, but we are definitely ready to share with you about the virtual assistant world. And what y'all have missed in the past, we will just kind of catch you up on today and talk about how to get started. Really, like, you want a virtual assistant, you've been thinking about one, but you really have no idea how to get started. So Richard Smith is here, and his virtual assistant, Gerard, is here also. And they run Remote Assistant Scout. They'll be able to tell you guys how to get started, what you need to do, and what a virtual assistant's main capabilities for growing your business would be. Thanks, Richard, for joining us.
Thanks. How are you guys doing?
Great.
So just to jump right in, Gerard, I have actually a question for you. So lately, what has been, when you have your client, which is a loan officer or a realtor, and they're wanting to hire their new VA, what are the biggest questions or the main questions they're asking? And then you can answer them right here. Did that make sense? Did I?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, of course. I think, the number one question that, our clients are asking me is sort of, how do I manage my virtual assistant? I mean, since, they're working remotely, and, we place virtual assistants here in the Philippines, and, they're kind of skeptical as to, am I going to micromanage? I mean, how I'm going to manage them, how am I going to provide some tasks, and do I have enough tasks for them? You know what I mean?
Right. Yep.
Yeah, so usually, we recommend a lot of tools out there, like, for example, Asana. Mr. Smith, can you tell more about Asana?
Yeah, because that's actually my favorite tool to use, not just with virtual assistants, but anybody on your team. And Asana, and it's www.asana.com. So it's Asana. You don't have to put the wwws anymore, but it's asana.com. And basically, it is a free software for managing tasks, managing employees, managing pretty much everything. any type of task or project that you're doing work related. And where we've done in this, it's really a two-way street, Gerard, with using Asana, because it allows us to communicate back and forth without having to send emails. And, you know, people lose emails, or I didn't get the email, or it's pretty much managing all the tasks in one place. And what it allows you to do is not only list tasks, but list their importance, and you can put due dates that you're wanting. So and there's sometimes, and I'll give an example. You said sometimes people ask, like, should I micromanage? And with Asana, you really don't need, well, number one, you don't want to micromanage, but with Asana, you don't need to. So let's just say I'm going to be out of the office all next week. I can literally put my virtual assistant's entire week together on Asana, what I want them to do, which time blocks of phone calls, projects I want them to work on. In Asana, like I said, you can prioritize, you can put the due dates, you can put the time block dates and times, and then in addition, you can upload documents and things. So everything is in one place, and there's never any need to micromanage them that way. So that's my all-time favorite tool, and it's free, which makes it even cooler.
Richard, you know, I think most people that are watching this are thinking, like, great, we have a tool that can, you know, help facilitate how the communication goes between yourself and a virtual assistant. But really, I think the number one thing people are concerned about is what are the tasks that they can give a virtual assistant? Like, what do they actually let their virtual assistant do? How can you get into that with Gerard a little bit? Like, what are some of the things that you guys have seen virtual assistants do for their loan officers or real estate agents or insurance agents?
Sure. I like to start with when I talk to somebody about the steps to take to hire a virtual assistant, first and foremost, number one thing that they should do, if you're thinking about hiring a virtual assistant, before you do anything, you should figure out what you're going to have them do. Because I've seen it, like myself and many others, I've seen make the mistake of go through all the processes of getting them on your team, and then, okay, now what am I going to have them do? So you want that first and foremost. So basically the way I've looked at it, and I look at things that are time consuming, that take me away from my money making activities, which most people in sales positions, whether you're a realtor, loan officer, insurance agent, financial advisor, like your main thing is getting in front of people. And so I look for all the tasks that are taking me away from that for my virtual assistant to do, and that's research and things like that. The other thing I look at is how can I double myself? So if I do an hour time block of outbound phone calls to talk with people that potentially can buy or sell houses or whatever the calls you're making, if you're a loan officer, you want to set appointments with realtors. If you're a realtor, you're looking for people to buy and sell, and on and on. So you can double yourself. You can have your virtual assistant make calls on your behalf. And so you think about in your social media and flyers and online, your CRM and putting your database together. There's so many things. And if anybody's interested, we can send lists and lists of things in each of those positions and what are the best tasks to have your VA do. But anyway, you think about everything that you want them to do based upon how can it help me grow my business, because they're doing things that are allowing me to focus on my main activities. And then the third thing that I always think about is, what do I wish I could do to grow my business? And it might be, somebody might say, I wish I could really have a huge brand on social media. Well, your virtual assistant can do that. And where they do it very, very well in comparison to us as salespeople is they do it consistently. So you have them do it every day. So you are super consistent, you're branded, everybody knows who you are. So those are the kind of things. And then what do I not know how to do that I don't have time to learn? And it might be with Gerard. Gerard knows how to over the years to do Facebook ads and to do special type of ads and landing pages and things like that. I never had time to learn how to do that. I needed to be in front of, you know, people that are buying and selling a house. So it's kind of looking for things to double myself, looking for things that are keeping me from the money-making activities that are helping grow the business, and then looking for things that I always wished I could do. Like I talk to realtors all the time, I really wish I had a good database, because if I kept up with my database, I would have so many more referrals. And well, we don't have, like, if you truly are a realtor or a loan officer and you're building your database, you're totally taking yourself away from your money-making activities, because it takes a lot of time to build out a database. So that's one of the things, the first things we suggest most people have their virtual assistants do is build that out. I hope that answers your question.
Well, absolutely.
Yeah. There are two types of people, you know, in terms of the tasks. Those who couldn't think of any tasks that they could delegate to their virtual assistant, and the other person is, you know, someone who would delegate everything. I mean, I just want to know, Mr. Smith, can you tell everybody as to how you manage me, and, you know, over the years, how I acquired those tasks? Because, you know, I'm just setting the right expectation here, because maybe the people are watching here are thinking, oh, I can assign this and that, or I can assign everything to a virtual assistant.
I think, and remind me or let me know if I have this right, because Gerard and I have worked together for about 7 years. So I think we took steps, and I think I've seen other virtuals, like Gerard can handle a lot, and most VAs can handle a lot, but nobody can handle everything at once, because then you lose focus. So we kind of took steps with, that doesn't sound right. What we did was at this way. When you start a project, if you don't complete the project, or let me ask you guys this: have y'all ever felt like you've had 20 things going on, but none of them are finished? Everybody has. We all do that. We start things. So with Gerard, what we did was we talked about certain tasks that need to be done, the most important, and then implemented them, and then automated them. And so once you automate them, then you can start on something else. And I'm not sure, that's probably not, did that make sense?
Yes, it does. But, you know, just for everybody's information, you know, Richard hired me with just, you know, a telemarketing experience. I've only had 2 to 4 work experience as, you know, virtual assistant or a lead coordinator calling people. I didn't have any experience with marketing, with graphics, with Facebook ads. And, you know, it was on a progressive basis. I mean, it's not like, you know, Richard handed everything to me in one table or in one sitting. So it took months for him to, you know, add another project, and it took months for him to, you know, have him learn some things.
Yeah, and so, yeah, I'd like to add to that too, because people ask me all the time, when you guys hire virtual assistants, speaking of remote assistant, Scout, they say, I'm looking for somebody that has great experience in making phone calls, doing graphic design, doing social media, and they'll list everything. And so there are some unicorns out there, but what I think Gerard does really, really well is he's hiring people that not only have the experience. So don't get me wrong, they have experience, but not everybody has experience in everything. And so, but what he's hiring are people with great attitudes, people with drive, people that can self-teach and be into self. And because Gerard, to go on to what he was saying, is self-taught. I didn't teach Gerard how to do graphic design. I didn't teach Gerard how to brand on social media and do all these other things. He taught himself. And so if my expectation on day one was you do all of these things, it would be overwhelming. There's only, you know, you can teach yourself progressively as you go. So I think that might be kind of what you're thinking, Gerard, is, but you're 100% right. It was over time, You learned, you implemented, and you became an expert at pretty much everything. Gerard can do anything now. And he doesn't just do it, he does it really, really good. And that's because he taught himself. Because if I said, hey, I taught you how to do all that, right? You'd be like, well, you don't even know how to do half of that. So it's about the attitude and getting the right person. I tell people that all the time. The biggest mistake that I've seen people make when hiring virtual assistants is getting the wrong person. That's why Remote Assistant Scout is so important, because it prevents you from that weeks and sometimes months of mistakes of having that wrong person and the money and time that it takes. So getting that right person is so, so important. Because of that. So just the longevity of a relationship, because I can tell you every VA I've ever talked to, they want a long-term work relationship. Every loan officer and realtor I've talked to, they want a long-term work relationship with their VA. But the problem is if you get the wrong one, or you don't onboard them and have those expectations clear at the beginning, then it's not always long-term. And then there's I've heard people say, oh, I've tried hiring a VA, it doesn't work. I can tell you, it works. And it's a huge, huge win for the virtual assistant and for the realtor and loan officer when you have that relationship, because Gerard has been instrumental in helping me grow my business over the years, like instrumental. And so it's a win-win for everybody because, and tell me if I'm right with this, Gerard, but most virtual assistants in the Philippines, they would rather work with the same person long term, right?
Yes, in today's market, a lot of virtual assistants are kind of asking me if this is, a stable company. They're kind of picky
Yes.
nowadays.
Yeah, because nobody wants to switch. So if they're helping the realtor and loan officer here in the U.S., if they're helping them grow their business and they're making more money and they're keeping their job for longer and they're getting bonuses or however it's set up, it's a win-win for everybody. So yeah, I didn't know. What do you think, Inga?
I think that the number one thing I've heard, I shouldn't say I think, is that people think that they can go out on their own and just find a virtual assistant through like some of the websites that have been around for a while, like eDesk and Upworks. I think they merged actually, and they have no clue how to go about hiring someone, and then they have a really bad experience. And
Yeah.
first of all, I know from my personal experience of hiring a virtual assistant is that we've spent hours upon hours listening to tapes of virtual assistants doing Skype interviews. It's a pain. I mean, it's a task. Like hiring anybody else, you have to find the right person, because if not, you just wasted all of this time. And there's no real way to find the right person. I mean, they're in a different country. They're not going to come to your office to interview with you, so you can't tell by their body language when they're talking to you on the phone what they're going to be like. Right. So I mean, yes, you can do Skype interviews with them, but I think finding the right virtual assistant is the key here, because you really can get that virtual assistant to learn a lot of things, like you said. And they're very intelligent people that are wanting these jobs. These are not people that they go to university and they study to become a virtual assistant. Essentially, really, that's what they want to do. They want to be able to assist company growth. So if you guys are looking just for anybody randomly on websites, you're going to be surely disappointed. I mean, you might get lucky, 1 out of 1,000 might get lucky, but you might also win the lottery. So I don't know. I'm just saying from personal experience that when you want to hire a virtual assistant, you really should do it with someone that knows what they're doing, someone that has a huge pool to choose from, and that can find the right fit for you.
Right.
And not only that, I mean, Gerard obviously has a whole task list, as you do, Richard, of what a virtual assistant can do. So, I mean, just having knowledge about the different capabilities of a virtual assistant is great. For instance, I think I saw an advertisement needed a virtual assistant that specialized in graphic design. So, like, if you are looking to do a lot of graphic design, website development, website design, and you need someone specifically for that, Gerard can probably find someone like that for you, right? Out of the whole pool of people. Now, if you're looking for just someone that's making phone calls for you that needs to have great English, that's something that the remote assistant scout can do as well. So I think the biggest thing is that not listening to what other people's experience has been, because I can guarantee you, 9 out of 10 times it has not been a positive one if you've been on your own looking for a virtual assistant and hired on your own.
Right.
But you guys, Gerard, you've placed how many virtual assistants now in the last year since doing this?
I couldn't count.
Okay, well, that many. So, and I mean, how many out of that? I mean, let's just be honest here. Out of that whole amount of people that you've placed, how many people have said to you, you know what, I'm not happy with my virtual assistant?
Let's say in 100, there's probably 4.
4.
And
so 4 out of 100. Yeah. So
yes.
4%.
And the reason is, is technically number one, wrong expectations from the virtual assistant. And that is something that, we may need to discuss in another session as to what can you really expect in a virtual assistant.
Right.
And, communication wise, I mean, I've had virtual assistant that, hey, Gerard, my client is, not responding. My client is so busy. I mean, how am I supposed to finish this task? I mean, she's not literally giving me any tasks at all. So the virtual assistant is kind of threatened as well that, she may lose his or her job, the following week because of this, situations, because it's not for everybody. And when I say it's not for everybody, it's not for people who doesn't want to grow their business, who doesn't want to put time into this. I mean, you have invested money. It's like, investing in continuing education, and yet you're not learning anything.
And you have to, Gerard, wouldn't you say that you should plan out exactly what you'd want your virtual assistant to do? Like, have an idea when you decide to hire someone, have an idea, okay, like these are the areas that I want focused on. Growth of business partnerships, social media expansion, and then really kind of stick with it. Don't just go jumping from one topic to the next. Once your virtual assistant masters this area and has got it going on autopilot, move on to something else. Essentially, the expectations for a virtual assistant to come in here and run your business are, so off the, bases that you're not going to be happy no matter what. It's not like you're going to hire anybody that even comes into your office here in the States and expect them to run your entire business. I hear from people all the time, I hired an assistant. It's taking me, 3 months to try to train her or him. And it's been nothing but a headache. I wish I never did it. Well, yes, I mean, you should always have a plan going into something like this when you're hiring anybody. What is your expectation? What are you going to have this person do? Let them master the task that you've set out for them and then move on to something else. That's my best advice.
Yep, I agree. And if anybody is interested or has questions about what they can have their VA do, how they can help them not just grow their business, but have more freedom, because it's both, really. We do have information we can send, and then we can also do a quick little phone call with question and answers, kind of like a call. So that's always an option too. So just direct message us, and we'll definitely, or comment below, and we'll definitely help in every way we can.
Yes, and guys, trust us, we are the best resource. I'm quite confident that if this is the first time hiring a virtual assistant, and maybe second time or third time, since we have had clients who tried to do it by themselves during the first time and reach out to us during their second. So just send us a message. You can contact Richard at any time, or you can basically call us at 281-394-0624. Or you can visit our Facebook page, Remote Assistant Scout, and, we'll get back to you within 24 hours.
Yep. Awesome.
All right.
Thank you guys. So we'll see you next week, Gerard, or are we going to do have some of our virtual assistants on to share?
Oh, yeah, possibly next week. So that will be arranged. Thursday, 12 noon Eastern Standard.
All right, awesome. We'll see you guys
Perfect.
then. Have a great rest of your week and rest
Thank
of your month.
you.
Y'all have a great one.
Take
Thank you.
care. Bye-bye, everyone.